Hi guys, it's Mrs. Millison. Okay, we're going to talk about methods today, and we're going to talk about um, instance methods, methods that need an instance of a class or an object to run. Okay, the most familiar instance or object methods that you're familiar with are strings. So I've got a little file here. Let's make some strings. So to create an object, I do the method type or the method name, which is strings. I'm going to name it, give it a word one name, whatever, and then new string, and then I can put my word in there. I'm just going to put holiday. Now, strings are unique types of methods, or excuse me, unique type of objects where I don't necessarily have to follow this convention. I can do this too. Okay, they're a built-in vacation. Who doesn't want to go on vacation? Okay, so since strings are a built-in object, I don't have to do this um, naming convention every single time. I can do a little shortcut. Okay, I do want to create a third object, word 3, that equals word 2, and you'll see why. Okay, so some of the methods that we're already familiar with on strings are the methods that we covered in a couple units ago: substring, index of, length, equals, that type of thing. So let's look at those real quick. Let's do a substring. Let's do word 1. Whoops. Substring. So to run our method, we need our object, dot operator, method name, and any kind of parameters. Now, substring has two signatures. There's one signature where it only requires one parameter, and that would be the index number. So let's print the word day. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I put 4 in here, it's going to print from day to the end. Okay. If I do word 2 dot substring, the other method signature requires two parameters, a beginning and an end index. So let's print the word at out of vacation. So 0, 1, 2, I'm going to start at 3, index 3, and I want the word T, I want 4, so I'm going to stop at 5. Okay, so let's print these. If I don't print them, I won't see them. Okay, so I forgot. What are we getting? We're getting day and at. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so these are instance methods that we're familiar with. Okay, they've got to run off an object, object.operator, method, and then parameters. Okay, let's do some other string methods real quick. Let's do the index of C. So 0, 1, 2, it should yield us 2. The word 2, there's my object, dot my method name, and my parameter. Whoops. Okay, and that should give me a 2. Oh, I forgot my parentheses. Okay, and it did. It gave us a 2. Okay, let me open up this little output window. All right, let's just do a couple more. Let's do length. Let's find the length of vacation. So word 2 dot length. No parameters needed in this one. Okay, so it's just going to count the number of letters. So we'll print that. I don't know how many letters are in vacation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We should get 8. And indeed we do. And then let's do the last method we're familiar with strings is equals. Okay, so let's see, word 1 equals word 2, that should be false. But if I say, does word 2 equal word 3, that should be true. So we'll do word 1 dot equals word 2. Okay, so there's the object, and I'm going to ask if it equals the parameter. Okay, and then we'll do word 2 dot equals word 3. Oops. So this one should be false. This one should be true, because remember, the equals yields a Boolean. So we will print these. And of course, the type of variable I can't talk and type at the same time. The type of variable that it outputs is return value, return type. Okay. There we go, false and true. So substring has a return type of a string. Index of and length have return types of ints, and then dot equals has a return type of a Boolean. Okay, so these are the methods, or these are the instance methods that we're familiar with. Okay, we've got our string objects and we've got our methods. Oops. Okay, all right, let's look at an object we created. So over here, I've created a people object, and we've seen this in my other videos. Have the instance variables first name, last name, and age. I created some constructors. Okay, let me label this stuff. These are my instance variables. So these are all the attributes of my people objects. Got a couple constructors. Okay, I've got a default constructor that makes an empty person. I've got a constructor where I can customize first name, last name, and age. And then down here, I've got all my getter methods, so I can get an object's first name, get an object's last name, and get an object's age. So I've got my getter or accessor methods created, and we learned about that in the other video. And then down here, I have some setter or mutator methods. Okay. This will change the age of an object, okay, to the new age parameter that I put in. This method will increase the object's age by 1. This method will also increase the object's age by a designated number of years that I put in the parameter, okay? These two will change the first name and last name of an object, okay? So again, just to review kind of the structure of a method, I have the access type, which is either going to be private or public, and our methods are all going to be public. Okay, that way any object can access them in any file. Okay, we have our return type. So for my getters, I have a return type of string or int, depending on what instance variable I'm returning. Okay, you'll notice that in my setters, I don't have a return type because I'm not actually going to output anything that I'm going to use. Okay, all I'm doing is modifying the value of a variable for a specific object. So these all have a return type of void. Okay, I don't actually have to have a return. Nothing's going to be returned. Now remember, when I do have a return type, I need the word return in my method. Okay, and a method will only return one thing. Once it's returned something, it's done. Okay, and we'll look at that in some if-else statements. Okay, and then the last part, and then of course I have my method name, and I get to make that up, so make it meaningful. And then in my parentheses, I will have any kind of parameters that I need to put into the method to run the method. Okay, and then of course between the brackets is the body of my method. Okay, I like to call it the guts, but that's not really a technical term. Okay, so this is kind of our overview of methods. We've been doing this from the get-go because I think it's very important to understand how methods are structured and created and used. Okay, so I've been trying to do these with you guys from the beginning. Okay, but now we're formally learning it, I guess. All right. All I want to do is write a couple more methods because getters and setters, you know, they're good and you need them, but let's do something a little more juicy. Okay, let's create a method that's going to look at an object's age and decide whether they can drive or not. Okay, how old do you have to be to drive? You have to be 16 or older. So let's create a method that's going to yield a Boolean, a true or false, that whether the object can drive or not. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do my access, which is public, my return type, which is Boolean, and I'm going to call this can drive. That's my name. Now, I don't need any parameters because I'm just going to look at the age of the object that I run this method off of. Okay, so if the age is greater than 16, I'm going to return true. The person can drive. If it's not, I'm going to return false. So I'm just going to say if can drive. Oh, not can drive. If age is greater than or equal to 16, I will return. Now I need a return statement because I have a variable type. It's not void. So when I have int double Boolean string or an object here, I need to have a return statement. So I am going to return true. Okay. Now, of course, I have to have an else and return false, because if I don't, the method will give me an error because it needs a Boolean to be returned. Okay. So I am going to put return false in here. And then I'll finish my method. Okay, so let's compile this. Oh, got an extra. Okay, so let's run this CanDrive method off of some objects. We need to create some objects. So create one person that's older than 16 and one person that's younger than 16. Okay, so we'll come over here to our people tester. We have all of our string stuff. We'll do people. Whoops. I'll just do my name first. I'm going to make myself an empty person, and then I'm going to increase my age or set my age. Where am I? I can't remember the name of the methods. Change age. I'll change my age to 14. I'm not 14. And then let's create another person. We'll make this person older than 16. And now let's, I didn't do a print statement. I didn't do a print method. So now let's just run our CanDrive method. Okay. So CanDrive, I always forget the name of my methods. So if I do barb CanDrive, that should yield a false. If I do Steph CanDrive, that should yield a true. Okay, so let's print these. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to comment out all my string methods up here because I don't feel like seeing them run every single time. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. So Barb CanDrive, that should have been false. It should have been false because I'm not over 16. Steph CanDrive because she's over 16, so that's true. So I'd use my object, okay, Barb, ran the CanDrive method. So what happened was it took the value of my age, my instance variable 14, and it said 14 is not greater than 16, so it returned false. When I ran the Stephanie or the Steph object with the CanDrive method, it took the value of her age, which was 21, and said it is greater than 16, so it is true. Okay, so Steph CanDrive. All right, so this is how we build our methods based on an individual object that we've created, okay, based on a class we've created or a class that somebody else has created. Okay, let's create another method and use this method inside of it because I want you to see how we can put a method inside of a method, okay? Let me move this up so we can see this. All right, so if this is true, if CanDrive is true, okay, so ultimately the person's older than 16, I want to send a little message saying, yay, go get your license. If it's not, we're just not going to say anything to them, okay? But I'm still going to need a return. I'm still going to need an else in my return, okay? So let's call this, okay, what are we going to return? We're going to return a little statement. So we're going to return a string. We'll call this get license. Baseball license. Okay. I don't think I need any parameters for this one because I'm really just going to say if this is true, we're going to make a statement. So I'm going to say if CanDrive. So if that's true, what do I want to say? I want to return. Again, I need a return statement because I have a return type that's not void. I'm going to return time to get your license. with an exclamation point because that's exciting. Okay, let's customize it. Let's put the person's name in here. Okay, so in order to use the object's name, first name, I've got to go back and I've got to use my getter method. So I'm going to get the first name of the object that I'm running the get license method off of. So I have to put that get f name inside here. So I'm going to do get f name plus a little space here. Oh, you know what? Let's do like Steph, comma, time to get your license. Okay. So that's what we'll return if can drive is true. So for Steph, it should say Steph, time to get your license. Now I do need an else because if this isn't true, let me show you. Okay. When I compile this, I'm going to get an error. Well, first of all, I got an error because I forgot my semicolon. See, it's telling me this method must return a result. Okay, so if the can drive is true, I've got to return. But if it's false, I've got nothing to return. Okay, so I do need a string to return if it's false. So I'm going to put my else in here, and I'm just going to return an empty string. Okay, because I don't want to say we could say something like, when I run it against my object, I'm not 16, so it's not going to tell me to get my license. It's going to say you're not. Maybe we can say you're not old enough to get your license. Let's do that. Oops. Goodness, guys. Comma, you are not old enough to get your license yet. We'll put a little. What's that? Okay, so now this method has something to return if can drive is true and can drive is false, so I shouldn't get an error. Okay, so now if we come over here and let's run Steph on the get license method. Okay, let's see what she gives us. Oh, because I got to print it. It's yielding me a string and I got to print it. I always forget my print statement until I run it and nothing prints. Okay, whoops. Oh, there we go. Steph, time to get your license. Because when the get license method ran on the Steph object, it went through the can drive method. She was older than 16, so it returned true. So that was true, and then it gave us that statement. So when I run this get license off the Barb object, I should get the other return statement where I'm not old enough to get my license yet. Change the object to Barb, and this should yield me the other. There you go. Oh, what happened to my name? Why didn't it grab my name? Oh, it didn't grab my name, guys, because I don't have a name. Remember when I created myself, I was a default person. Oh my goodness. I think I should set my name. Do I have a setter for my name? Oh, I do. Let's change my first name. Okay. I'm just copying because I always forget the name. So Barb. Funny. I'm like, where's my name? All right. There we go. So now I should have a name. There we go. Barb, you're not old enough to get your. That's not how you spell enough. My goodness. All right, guys. I wish Java had spell check. Oh. Oh, good heavens. All right, there we go. Barb, you're not old enough to get your license yet. Oh, well. All right, last thing I want to do is create one more method, and I want to use an object inside my method. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare first name and last name of two objects. Okay, see if I have any duplicates. Okay. Sorry, getting all my notes situated here. All right, so basically what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to compare the first name um, and last name of two different objects. Okay, we've got Steph up here. Let's create another object called Steph2, and we will um, give them the same first last name, but a different last name. Make them 25. Okay, so I want to compare these people. I'm going to compare the first name, see if they're the same. I'm going to compare the last name, see if they're the same. Then I'm going to compare the whole object, all the names, to see if it's a duplicate person. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to take the first name of the object that I'm going to run it off of and compare it to the first name of an object in my parameter. Okay, so let's build this. And I'm going to have to use, I'm going to have to use these getter methods. Okay, I'm going to have to use the get first name and get last name for each object. Whoops. Oh, goodness. Okay. So again, I want my method to be public. And I want to yield a Boolean. I want to yield whether it's true or false that the names are the same. Okay, so let's test the first names first. Okay, so I'm going to call this same first name. And what I'm going to put in here is another person, another people object to check it against. Okay, I'm going to call it the other person. Okay, so what I want to know is I want to know if the first name, so get first name of the object that I'm running the method off of, because I'm going to do an object name dot same first name and then another people object, is equal to the first name, of, sorry, the first name of this person. So this person is going to be called other in my method. Okay. So this will grab the first name, use the method against the object that I'm running the method off of, and this will get the first name of the object that's in my parameter. Okay. Let's do this. So this should yield me a true or false, right? So let's just return that statement for that space. Okay, because if it's true, it'll give me true. If it's false, it'll give me false. Okay, let me compile. Okay, so let's run this. So it's called same first name, and I have a parameter of another object name. So I want to see if Steph and Steph2 have the same first name. So I'm going to run Steph dot same first name. That's my method name. Double check. Yes. And see if Steph object has the same first name as Steph2. So my parameter is another people object. Okay, it's not just a specific variable, it's a whole people object. So this should yield me true because Steph1 and Steph2 do have the same first name. I have to run all that other stuff. Okay, so it did give me true. All right, now let's create a method to check the last names. Okay, well, it's going to be pretty much the same. I'm just going to change all my first to last. Okay, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and copy and paste. So again, I'm going to have a public Boolean. This one I want to check if it's the same last name. Okay, still going to look at another people object. So now I'm going to get the last name of the object that I'm running the method off of and see if it dot equals the last name of the object that is in my parameter that I want to check it against. Okay, now this one for Steph should come back true. Okay, so if I come up here and now I'm going to copy and paste this. Did I? I must have changed the name. Okay, of my method. Now I'm going to check the last name. So I'm going to take my Steph object and check and look at it, her last name Smith, and see if it equals the last name of the Steph2 object. which is Jones, which should be false. Okay, so I got a false for the same last name and a true for the same first name. Okay, let's do one more method and then I'll disconnect from you guys. Let's combine these and see if we have a duplicate person. Okay, so I want to see if this is true and this is true, I have a duplicate person. If not, they're not duplicates. Okay, so I want to return a little statement that says, this person and that person are duplicates, or this person and that person aren't duplicates. So I'm going to do a public string. Um, and this time I'm going to call it dupe. I'm just going to call it dupes. I don't feel like writing duplicates. Okay. And what I'm going to check is against a whole nother person. Okay. A whole nother person object or people object. I'm going to put me. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to run these methods inside. I'm going to say if same first name and same last name are both true, I'm going to return a statement that they are duplicates. Okay. So I'm going to say same first name. Oops. Um, and I'm going to grab the me, which is going to be the object in the parameter. Okay. And again, it's going to check this against the object, the person that I'm running it off of. Okay. So if that is true and same last name is also true, okay, I'm going to return, and I need that return statement since I have a return type, that these two people are duplicates. Okay. I want to say their name. So if I say get first name, this will grab the first name of the object I'm running the method off of. Okay. Let's put space. Let me get their last name. Okay. So this will say, Steph Jones. And now we're going to take the me object and get their first and last name because that's the one that is in my parameter. And of course, get their last name. And then I'm going to say, so this is going to say Steph Jones and Steph Jones are duplicates. Whoops. Okay. So that's if both these methods come back as true. Okay. First name and last name, comparing the method or the object I'm running the method off of, and then the object that's in my parameter. Okay. Now, of course, if it's not true, I need another return. So I've got to put in a statement for my false. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing and I'm going to say are not duplicates. Okay. So this would be my statement if the first and last name method, one of them comes back as false. Because if one of them comes back false, the whole thing's false in an and. Okay, let's run, see if I made any mistakes. What doesn't it like? Oh, forgot the plus. A little space in there. Is that it? Okay, good. Just forgot my plus. All right, now let's go back and run. So dupes is my method. Okay, so now if I come back and I say, let's see, Steph dupes Steph 2. Now they aren't duplicates, right? So this should come back as Stephanie Smith and Stephanie Jones are not duplicates. Okay, so of course it's a string, so I got to print it. Okay, Steph Smith and Steph Jones are not duplicates. Well, let's create a duplicate. Okay, So let's create a third Steph. And we will just duplicate Steph. We'll duplicate Steph Smith. Oops. Oh, we'll try to duplicate it by giving it the same name. If I can spell correctly. And now if I come down here and run, oops, let's see, Steph 3 is a duplicate of Steph, right? So that should yield me that Steph Smith and Steph Smith are duplicates. There we go. So Steph Smith and Steph Smith are duplicates. Okay. So again, the part of the method right here where it's just get F name and get last name are finding those values of variables for the object that I'm calling the method with. When I come in here and I use this me.get first name and me.get last name, it's using the object me, that people object me, that's in my parameter, okay, which in our case would be this Steph or this Steph 2, okay? So you'll see our methods can get a lot more involved, but it's nice that now we can use entire objects inside of our methods. We don't have to just look for single variables. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all later.